Hey there guys, how's it going? My name is Sumit Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. Today I want to be talking about shame. Now shame is a very self-conscious emotion. Shame makes us direct our focus inwards, whereas guilt makes us focus on the action. Why do we even have shame? What's the purpose of it? Just like the function of pain is to prevent us from damaging our own tissues, it's there to prevent us from damaging our social relationships or to motivate ourselves to repair those relationships. We live in a shame culture and it can get very toxic. We also have to understand, like back in the day, if a tribe shamed you or rejected you or hazed you, it meant that you were devaluing yourself. They were putting you lower than you already were in your own self-image, in your own self-esteem. Shame is one of the only emotions that deals with the threat of devaluation. Whereas, stress, anxiety, sadness, all of these can be a part of shame, but no other negative emotion, I'm saying negative, but they're just emotions, right, deals with this threat of devaluation, of devaluing ourselves. So how can we start to value ourselves again? That's one question that I want you to ask yourself. And why is shame associated with this downward spiral? You see, when we shame ourselves, we start to get ashamed of the fact that we're being shamed, or we're shaming ourselves, and then we get into a shame spiral. So this is where the downward spiral actually starts. And if you're familiar with David R. Hawkins' scale of consciousness, you'll find that shame is on the very bottom. It's shame and then there's guilt. People want to control people's reactions to them, right? They want to avoid frustration, they want to avoid shame, they want to avoid embarrassment. But negative emotions, the emotions that we call negative, are a part of life and a process of growth. It's just a process of being human. It's the entry-level ticket that we pay for the amusement park, right? Humiliation is the ticket that we pay to get into the amusement park of the flow state. The fact that we're avoiding humiliation, avoiding frustration, it might actually be slowing us down and lengthening our progress. Whereas we can have quick decisions and quick progress, we're actually extending it into this long-haul progress. Shame feelings are generally associated with low self-esteem, hostility, and psychological distress. Now, there's a primary way of distinguishing how the different genders deal with shame. Studies have shown that, men generally like to get aggressive and hostile, so they take much more action based on the shame. They want to prove themselves, they want to compensate for the feeling of insecurity. And women, they go much more inwards and they shame themselves inwards and they don't talk about it with anyone. And they just keep it to themselves and they repress it, just take it inwards. Shame is self-focused, so it's I did something bad. Guilt is I did something bad. So when we feel shame, you're feeling that your whole self feels wrong. But for guilt, when you feel guilty, you're making a judgment that something you've done is wrong. Researchers have also studied the development of biology and the development of shame-based low self-esteem and are focusing some of their attention on the neurochemistry. There's a possibility that low serotonin levels may contribute to more submissive behavior, leading to feelings of shame. How do you get serotonin? You got to be in sunlight, guys. All right? You got to do certain things that boost that serotonin. There's a difference between trying and expectation. So how can we break this pattern of shame? I have an answer for you, all right? And you've probably heard it in many different self-help groups or circles or seminars and things like that. But it's different to actually think about it, and it's another thing to completely embody it and start doing it. And it's the simple question of, what am I grateful for? Gratitude. That is the antidote to get you out of that shame cycle and on the upward spiral. And I'll give you an example as well. Gratitude is awesome, but does it really affect our brain at a biological level?
Yup.
You know what the antidepressant Wellbutrin does? Boosts the neurotransmitter dopamine. So does gratitude. You know what Prozac does? Boosts the neurotransmitter serotonin. So does gratitude. It's not finding gratitude that matters most, it's remembering to look for it in the first place. It's the perception. Remembering to be grateful is a form of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence tackles this idea of shame. If you have emotional intelligence, you're able to cope with the feelings of shame and then do something and take action to deal with that shame. All right, shame sometimes ungrounds us. We don't feel grounded. We feel like something else is taking control. We feel powerless or hopeless. So when we ground ourselves physically here, we're rooted here. One study actually found that it affected neuron density in both the ventromedial and the lateral prefrontal cortex. So with higher emotional intelligence, it takes us less effort to be grateful. If we have a high EQ, we're going to have a high level of gratitude along with that because we're actually looking for the gratitude. We're finding it where we look. But when we get into a low state of beingness, we get into a narrow-mindedness. All right? So practice, noticing your periphery. Start noticing more of life. Start tuning into more of life instead of having these horse blinders on and thinking I have to focus on this. Get into the presence of the wide angle. There was a study done where people's amygdalas activated when they looked at a picture of an emotion. But when they were asked to name the emotion, it actually activated the ventromedial prefrontal cortex and reduced the emotional amygdala reactivity. Them labeling the emotion that this is what sadness looks like, right? Emotional intelligence. This is probably what fear looks like, according to this face. What that's actually doing is it's soothing the mind. So labeling your emotion, this is why I give my clients an ability to notice and immediately characterize their negative emotions. I take them through that process. They often give them a funny name. And by giving it a funny name, you're actually taking much more power over that. Okay? Also, deciding boosts pleasure. Okay? Neuroscience Alex Korb says, we don't choose the things we like, we also like the things we choose. So understand that if you are going from feeling ashamed of yourself and how you're taunting your own self-image, it's actually telling you that that is not your self-image, and the fact is that you've got to do something with that identity level change. You've got to make an impact and improve your levels of emotional intelligence. Those are the signs. And gratitude can be an incredible tool where you can do this. Whether it's using your phone and having 3 things that I'm grateful for on an app, whether it's writing it down on a journal, whether that's giving yourself an anchor for gratitude and feeling it within your body each day, whether that's wearing a symbol or a badge or having it somewhere where you can see it all the time, have the word grateful somewhere on a post-it note where you can see it, that simple reminder to get us to notice what already is there. And that's not coming from the scarcity mentality of what is out there, right? I want a car. It's still chasing. It's still attachment, which is a form of suffering. It's from this place of fear. I want a car. But if you notice that I already have a bike and I'm so grateful for that mode of transportation, that's more likely to get you that car rather than you not noticing the fact that you even have a mode of transportation. A lot of people in this world, they don't have that. They can't even afford a bike. And here you are complaining about the fact that I don't have a car. And the fact is your bike that needs the love, the appreciation that it needs as well, is not getting that love and appreciation. So truly, start to look at gratitude because it really starts to rewire the brain towards that long-term happiness. And it's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to be like, oh, I'm grateful now. It's just the fact that you're looking for it, you're searching for it in the first place that matters. So let me give you an example. Gratitude improves sleep. There's been lots of research that have shown that gratitude improves sleep. Sleep reduces pain. Reduced pain improves your mood. An improved mood reduces anxiety, which improves focus and planning. Focus and planning help with decision making. Decision making further reduces anxiety and improves your enjoyment. Enjoyment gives you more to be grateful for. which keeps the loop of this positive upward spiral going. I call my group of high-end clients the upward spiral gang. And there's a reason for this. Is because every single day they're working towards bettering themselves. Every single day they're doing one thing to get them on that momentum again. And it may be difficult certain days. Maybe, confronting an old identity pattern. It may be coming into contact with some kind of confrontation. It may be dealing with a nasty boss or whatever, right? It could be a number of things. But the fact that they're taking one step forward and they're placing one foot in front of the next, and they're seeing a new world. They're seeing a world that is in tune with their higher self. They're getting the hope back from the hopelessness. That is what I truly plan to do, and that's what the flow state can do for you. Because with the flow state, take the example of Stephen Kotler, who had Lyme disease and he cured his Lyme. He couldn't even get up from bed. He had to have someone drag him onto the surfboard to help him get into that state. That moment where he thought, I'm going to die. I might as well. That was the moment that changed everything. And so maybe you're coming across this video and you're thinking, flow, yeah, I guess I've heard of it, whatever. I guess it can help me, sort of. Then this is not the video for you. But if you felt something from watching this video today, you want to step up and truly transform your life to the greater level that you deserve, reach out to me on Instagram. You know where to find me. Have an amazing day. I hope this helped you out today. May the flow be with you, and stay a legend.